All right. Let's get the volume.
T-set pass.
Oh my god, that's very loud.
But wider. You're telling
T said pass, but wider. Actually, that joke doesn't happen because you're gonna be putting pendulums, so it's not T. Wait, what are you doing? You're actually T setting pass, but wider. Where are your pendulums? I am reading those shapes and colors monsters. Yeah, that's. I also haven't read them yet. That's why I was waiting for the overanalyzing Enneacraft. Yeah, let's go.
behold. T-set pass. But wider. You're telling
This set pass by wider is like something that I will never forget. From now on, I will be thinking about it all the time.
me that this is a modern end board and
Yeah.
it's a burn deck? Alright, you've piqued my interest.
Where is this going? Where is this going? What is this is Futurama? What is this? What? Rocket ship?
And I have to say, Konami, I don't know how you manage
What? What a dramatic intro, holy. Okay, hold on, I'm gonna close the window. Editor, remove this. Okay, alright, let's see.
not only cool and unique, but it feels deep. But you've somehow made a deck that's not only cool and I have to say, Konami, I don't know how you managed to do it despite the immense power creep, but you've somehow made a deck that
This meme has a watermark. Chaos Giant memes? What?
it's not only cool and unique, but it feels
My body is a machine that turns.
nothing like playing any other Yu-Gi-Oh deck. This feels like it's from an alternate timeline where Fiberjar got power crept instead of Cyber Dragon. So let's talk about Enneacraft and how a deck like this
What the hell did you just say?
crept instead of Cyber Dragon. So let's talk about Enneacraft and how
Bro, we're 47 seconds in and I just can't. I don't know how we're gonna go through this video. I don't know how we're gonna finish this video like this. You think I'm removing the watermarks? They can have they can have credit for their 4 to 10 no, I'm just surprised to see a meme with a watermark with a watermark in the big 26. Yeah. I love the image of Cyber Drown. His memes are legendary. Yeah.
how a deck like this fits into a modern Yu-Gi-Oh meta. So Enneacraft is a really interesting deck to talk about because I never thought I'd have the opportunity to talk about
Hitler mentioned? It hasn't been a minute. People who play burn decks or Yu-Gi-Oh players. Hi Adolf.
a burn deck, especially
Another Chaos Giant meme.
a burn deck that's focused around flip summoning. And let's just get one thing clear right out of the gate here. Enneacraft is a burn deck. It is not a control deck. If you play it like a control deck, you're gonna get outgrinded and lose, but we'll talk more about that later. Because
Okay, so it's not a control deck because the game is supposed to end in turn 2 or 3 at most, right?
something just as cool as its playstyle is its themes, and I'm a huge sucker for a well-themed deck. And I know I'm late to the party when it comes
Okay, what do you mean theme? What exactly is a theme here? They are just colors and shapes. I know they are meant to be like I don't even know what they are. I don't even know what the right words. My English is not good enough in order to describe what they are. But they are like ships, right? They are like spaceships. That's the word that I was looking for, right?
to making an Enneacraft video, I actually have to play the deck to form my opinion, which takes time. Sorry. But because I'm so late to the party, I'm sure you've all seen the very basics of the themes of this deck. Like, I'm sure that we've all heard that this deck is based around the Enneagram, which is a pseudoscientific...
The what?
Like, I'm sure that we've all heard that this deck is based around the
The Enneagram? Generalist, loyalist, thinker, artist, motivator, helper, reformer, peacemaker, leader, anger, fear, image. Huh? Never heard of it. I literally never heard of this. What is this? Stress, relax. Okay. Let's try to understand this. We're already like done with this. We're already done with this. So the romantic artists relaxes the perfectionist reformer, but the epicure generalist stresses the reform. What? So the romantic artist is stressed by the perfectionist reformer, but is relaxed by the helper. Is that, am I understanding this correctly? I don't know. I have no idea what I'm looking at. Please, crispy applesauce, explain this to me.
Enneagram, which is a pseudoscientific model to describe 9 human personality traits.
Okay, personality traits. Awesome. So it's like the 16 personality things, but it's 9. It was 9, right? Whatever. It's a bunch of nonsense. It's literally pseudoscience. Okay, I love it.
And the deck is just oozing with theme in that regard. You paid 900 life to search. You need 9 counters to deal lethal damage.
I never noticed that.
Hell, even the big Enneacraft monsters are level 9. And in case you weren't sure which Ennea type the card was referencing, they literally put the Greek number for the Ennea type that it represents.
Proto is 1?
In the card's name, minus the S on the end. And I think like everyone else, I ate this shit up. I love this kind of stuff.
I have no idea. I had no idea, and I like it. I like it. Like, I need to know how deep it goes, but I like it so far.
I just wanted to go a little bit deeper because actually understanding the themes of these
We're
cards
going
ends up
deeper,
helping me
holy.
understand what these cards do at a glance. We'll start with Proto-Orgia here, and this whole name is actually just Greek, with the first part of it Proto.
Are you telling me that this is not just orgy in Spanish? That's crazy.
Translating to first, and the second part of it Orgia, translating to anger.
No, it translates to orgy. Okay, yeah. Oh, so that's why. So that's anger in Persona 3. That's what Aegis does. Okay, that makes more sense. I was confused. Yeah, I went over my head. Always see geometry and flip monsters. Yeah.
And the Ennea type being referenced here is the Reformer, whose temptation is hypocrisy and their vice is anger. So if we translate this to the effect of the card,
Wait,
temptation is
that's Persona 3.
hypocrisy and their vice is anger. So if we translate this to the effect of the card, it flips up when an opponent activates a monster effect in hand, showing hypocrisy because all of the Enneacraft cards activate in hand. And then it shows anger through destroying a monster on the field. Cool, right? Deftero Alazonia, which is just Greek for second arrogance, follows this same naming convention. Except this time it also gets paired up with a level 9 counterpart. This Ennea type is the Helper, whose temptation is to deny one's needs through manipulation. And
Jesus Christ.
if we looked at the effects again, it flips when someone goes to search and then tries to deny that need by manipulating their hand.
Okay,
With the level 9
okay.
monster representing the Helper's vice of pride. I mean, it's quite literally a lion. And that vice of pride is shown by not allowing your opponent to have a final chain link, only being able to be activated when your opponent responds to one of your...
They did this in the anime. In the manga. That's crazy. In the OCG thing. Interesting.
Your own effects. Hitro Expatia, or Third Deception, and its level 9 counterpart, Pixia, represents the Ennea type, the Achiever. The Achiever's fear is worthlessness, while its desire is to feel valuable. To represent its worthlessness, the card only activates when the opponent activates a card that would set something, which is extremely niche. But in order to feel valuable, it's the only one that performs 2 actions on the same effect, where it destroys a set spell and trap card and allows you to special summon a monster from your hand in face down defense position. With Pixia, the Achiever's vice is deceit, with its temptation being to be the best in the room. And when we look at how its effects works, yeah, that's pretty appropriate as well. Our next card, Atil Spilla, actually jumps right to the 5th Ennea type, the Observer, because this deck is actually thematically incomplete. And I like that Konami left themselves plenty of wiggle room here to introduce even more cards into the archetype in the future. And if we follow their naming conventions, I'd be willing to bet money that if Konami ever put out a level 1 for this Enneatype, that its name would be Pemto Apostillo, which
We're already predicting what Konami's gonna do. That's crazy.
translates to 5th greed, and the Observer has a vice and a virtue of avarice and detachment, so it activates whenever it witnesses greed of a chain link 3 or higher, and then shows detachment by negating the whole chain. Ecto Tremoria, or 6 Dreadful, paired with a Tori Mar, represents the skeptic who has a fear and desire of guidance and support, with the temptation of indecision. Arcade Tail is the 8th Enneatype called the Protector, and I don't think you guys need to know what the Protector is about and how that relates to Arcade Tail's effect. And the final Enneacraft here is Eneto Oknarina, or 9th Hesitation. And this represents the Peacemaker, whose temptation is to avoid conflict and has the vice of sloth.
Would you really think I'm going? Do you really believe there is like an Enneacraft player who wants to avoid conflict? I think save this video, chat. We can come back to it. Yeah, no, actually, yeah.
Which is why his effect revolves around graveyard interactions. And I love how well thought out these cards are. I don't know about you guys, but at least for me, it makes it a lot easier to remember these cards' effects when I can make the association that the red one is Angie. And if you thought these themes were cool,
the red one is Angie. Dude, that is so true.
the playstyle is even cooler. Like I said before, this is a burn deck that's focused around flip effects. And if you told me that was going to be a modern Yu-Gi-Oh strategy before Enneacraft's release, I would have laughed in your face. Because this deck plays nothing like a modern Yu-Gi-Oh deck. It has 0...
What is this image, dude? A grotesque fusion of 5 undead dragon demons. It is 5 heads. Its 5 heads spew forth dark flames that incinerate all of their path. Chimera Sardrag is a powerful and dangerous creature that should not be underestimated. 5,000. Phew, thank God. Oh shit. The worst part is that there is text in there. I could read it, but I am not gonna.
This deck plays nothing like a modern Yu-Gi-Oh deck.
That was just like a hold on, I'm just going back to this, but this is what would this be? Like Yummy. Yeah, that's Yummy, yeah.
Plays nothing like a modern Yu-Gi-Oh deck. It has 0 true 1-card combos. It doesn't use the extra deck at all. And it basically has no explosive OTK line whatsoever. Like, this end board could have been a meme on its own a few years ago, but this deck feels so good to play. To simplify these scary long card texts, let's go over the shared effect that each Enneacraft has, so you can ignore most of this text box. We'll start with the pendulum effects, because once you know those, you know pretty much all of them. Every Enneacraft card shares the same pendulum effect, where if a monster is flipped up either on your side of the field or the opponent's side of the field,
a counter, right?
It gains 1 counter. The level 1 Enneacraft monsters can pay 900 life points to select 3 cards in your deck and have your opponent randomly pick one of them and add it to your hand. And for the level 9 Enneacraft monsters, if they're in the pendulum scale at the end of the battle phase, then they can destroy a monster with 3,000 or less attack. The other shared effect that they all have is that they can reveal themselves in their hand to special summon any monster from their hand and face down defense.
That is so... Why is that allowed? It's so weird that any of these can just summon a bunch of monsters. And like, what they do is just search stuff, right? You do the thing to search like things, and then you just get your field of like guys.
The only unique effect that each Enneacraft monster has
is a flip effect,
is
right?
The effect that activates to flip them up and their flip effect. Everything else about an Enneacraft monster is basically cookie cutter. The best way to describe these monsters is they're basically just trap cards in the monster zone. And you have one goal with this deck: accumulate 9 counters on your pendulum scales and then make it to end phase. This is your only goal in the whole deck. And you want to accomplish this goal as fast as possible because you do not want to find yourself in a grind game with Enneacraft. And a lot of this goes back to what I was saying before.
We're dissing burn decks, but I feel like our real enemy are the floodgates, but sure.
About how this isn't a control deck, so let me explain it. OG viewers probably know where I'm going with this since I've made a whole video on control decks, but the TLDR is that the main aspect of a control deck is a resource loop. Control decks can continuously rebuild their board regardless if it makes it to turn 10 or 12 or 15, and Enneacraft lacks that resource loop entirely. There's no reliable way to cycle back your Enneacraft monster.
Oh, I am understanding better now why every time that I play against these guys, like, one of these things happens, right? I ran out of things and then I just die. Or, like, I feel like sometimes I'm breaking their board or I'm, like, dodging their negates and they just surrender out of nowhere. And I'm like, what? You have like 4 monsters on board. I cannot OTK you from here. Like, you still live, but they just surrender at random times. So is it because they already lost their resources and they cannot get them back? Interesting. That's why sometimes you feel like they just surrender at random times. Huh.
Monsters. There's no way to recover life points that you spent searching on your first turn, making your follow-up way weaker. Even their method of searching becomes weaker in the mid-game because now that you no longer have full playsets in your deck, you're not guaranteed the card that you need when you search. It's not trying to drag out the game and win by out-resourcing your opponent, but it's not trying to win on the first turn either. It's very un-Yu-Gi-Oh-like. Instead of thinking of this deck like a control deck, think of it more of a deck like Chain Burn, where it's trying to expend all of its resources to deal enough burn damage to just end the game on the spot. And when it came to playing this deck, my list kind of reflects that.
Oh my god.
Philosophy. And before you go, oh my god, no D-Fissure or D-Shifter, based. Let me explain. I'm not beneath playing Dimensional Shifter or Dimensional Fissure, but I just don't think they're that great in this deck.
Really? Really? I feel like that's where I have most trouble with this, but I guess it's because I play Sky Striker.
Every card in this deck needs to be progressing your win condition. There were too many times that I wished Dimensional Fissure was basically just literally anything else. Instead, I went with cards like Book of Eclipse that assist with board breaking and helps flip my monsters back face down.
I've never seen anyone play this in Enneacraft.
Plus, its end phase thing gives us a counter, and so when Luna fills that same function, it allows me to flip monsters up and down as a form of interruption while still progressing my win condition. And personally, I like the flexibility of these cards a lot more. They're a lot better going first or second, where Di-Fi is just Bray, you drew it against Branded, and you also got to go first. And I'm just gonna say this now, anyone who says Dimensional Fissure is in this deck purely to stop Droll and Lockbird is on pure copium. If Cool Tune and Branded weren't the best decks in the format right now, you guys would not be running Dimensional Fissure. And I'm not just saying Di-Fi bad because I want you guys to subscribe to me, which totally should by the way, but because I actually have a perfect comparison for Enneacraft. Which is weird, right? I said there was nothing that played like this in Yu-Gi-Oh! And that's because...
Okay, I'm scared. What is it gonna be? Like, what is it gonna be? It's gonna be something... What could it be? What could it be? What could it be? It's probably something from Magic.
This perfect comparison isn't a Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck.
I fucking knew it! I knew it! I knew it, holy shit, yeah.
Magic deck called Shrine of Burning Rage Red Deck wins. And I strangely have a lot of experience playing this deck, and it basically has all the same strengths, weaknesses, even win condition as Enneacraft. Obviously, it's personal perspective. I mean, all of my videos are personal perspective, but this deck being basically Yu-Gi-Oh's version of Shrine of Burning Rage is what helped me refine and identify what the strengths and weaknesses of this
this means literally nothing to me. I like your funny words, Magic Man. I have no idea what this means.
Deck really are. And the first strength is just how unique it is. There are not a lot of decks on ladder that are prepared for a burn matchup. Being able to circumvent combat entirely to kill your opponent.
I'm sorry, what the hell is this? It's okay to be blah. It is never okay to play chain burn ever. Seriously, stop playing this deck. It's bad. You are bad. Stop. Based
is a lot stronger than you guys would think. Like, just look at all the burn restrictions on the modern Gem Knight support. This is all just to prevent Lapis Lazulius from going out of control. And I think a second benefit here is that this deck isn't breaking boards in a traditional way. It prefers to lock it down with cards like a Torimar. In Enneacraft's case, a good defense is also its offense, which is why it gets called a control deck all the time. But this isn't a control deck, and it shouldn't be played like one.
I guess it feels like a control deck because the matches go for so long with this. It goes for so... I mean, I don't know. I guess it goes long because you're reading the cards and you're thinking a lot about this because they are confusing more than anything else. But yeah, I understand that point that they are definitely not control decks, 100%.
It's more of an aggressive defense, if that makes sense. Your first priority in this deck is generating your counters. Your second priority is controlling the board, which is again why I like cards like Book of Eclipse and Sol and Luna. These cards allow me to generate counters so I can use them offensively if I need to. And when you only need 9 counters to win the game, an extra 1 or 2 counters could be the difference between winning the game or leaving your opponent at 800 life points. A final positive here that I really want to point out is that the Enneacraft monsters set anything from your hand in face down defense position. Not just an Enneacraft monster. This opens the door for it to be played with all different kind of flip effect decks. And we even got the Wake Up cards
but nobody
in the
does.
Legacy pack with Enneacraft. So you can tell Konami is just trying to inch us in the direction of using it with other flip effect monsters. The problem is there's not really other good flip effect monsters. Because here's the thing, it's such a cool and unique deck, but that cool and uniqueness also causes problems as well. And to start, your entire win condition hinges on the field spell and these counters. If one of these gets removed, your win condition breaks pretty much entirely.
And that's what I used to think. But there are some times where I just destroy, because I know the win condition is to burn me, right? So I just do everything to get rid of the spell, and then the next turn they just flip their things that are untargetable and undestructible, and they just attack with those because they also have a bunch of attack.
If you're only able to pop one card and have to choose between the field spell or the scales, go with the scales. Getting rid of the counters is a lot more impactful and a lot more damaging to their game plan.
Okay.
And without one card combos, there's no guarantee that you're gonna get to your strongest end board. Sometimes you're just not gonna find that Pixia, and an MST is just gonna destroy your day. Sometimes you're just not gonna find...
This guy has 3000 attack, and you can just, like, it's gonna survive, right? And the next turn you just, like, change it, like, to attack, and you attack, and that's it.
That Pixia, and an MST is just gonna destroy your day. And it's not just the win condition that's exploitable here, but every Enneacraft monster has a very specific flip trigger. This deck really only works against people who don't know what the Enneacraft monsters do.
Wait, they have
Anyone
specific flip triggers. I think that's what I need to learn. Because I know some it's here that summon a monster or draw cards or something like that, right? I need to learn the one for the strongest one.
Conditions is going to be able to play around these cards pretty well, which is again why I really like cards like Sol and Luna. Being able to manually flip up my cards on my terms makes them a lot more disruptive. But even then, if a Draco Tail player knows not to go to Chainlink 3 against you, you're not going to get that big advantage like...
Wait, Chainlink 3? I didn't know about that one.
You're always hoping. I think the final weakness that I want to bring up too just has to do with the meta we're in right now, and just the fact that we're in a fusion meta. With almost all of the interruption in this deck being some flavor of Book of Moon, that doesn't really do anything to fusion monsters since they can fuse face down anyway. And obviously this won't be true forever. I mean, in the past 5 months we went from like a ritual format to an exceed format to a synchro format to like a ritual format to an exceed.
Born to shed, forced to wipe? But why is it? Why is it like the K9 guy? What's his name? Was it Werewolf? Why is it Werewolf?
Format to a synchro format to another synchro format, and now we're in a fusion format. I think if this format shifts to like an Exceed or a synchro based format again,
oh yeah, the
this
most
deck could be really
it's
good,
release,
but
yeah.
it's still not beating all of the problems it already has. But overall, despite its ups and downs, I do really like this deck. I know I'm very guilty of saying things like this
Tribute format when? Is that not happening soon? Is that not a... No, that's... Is it? No, it's not. But that was Monarch, right? Monarch was a tribute format. But I guess what... Wait, it is, right? Isn't Clown Crew... Yeah, exactly. Clown Crew will be the tribute format, yes.
brings something unique to the table that Yu-Gi-Oh hasn't seen before, and then I showcase a deck that has like one extra gimmick. But Enneacraft truly is a unique deck that plays entirely different from everything else in Yu-Gi-Oh. It legitimately feels like playing a Magic deck in Yu-Gi-Oh format, because from its themes to its playstyles, it's truly one of a kind, and I really mean that as the highest praise possible. The fact that Konami can come up with something as cool as this in 2026 is just awesome. And it's proof that those creative juices are still flowing through the card developers at Konami. And I just love this, Konami. Please, more wackiness, more goofy decks. They don't have to be the best, but something fun like this is just really refreshing. But I will say, if you want to climb with this deck, just don't. The higher up in the ladder you go, the more players you're going to play against that actually know how to beat this deck. And this deck struggles against players that just know how it works. But who knows, maybe we'll get a second flip effect archetype that plays really well with Enneacraft, and then we'll be cooking. If you guys made it to this part in the video, why not consider liking or subscribing? It goes a long way with helping small creators like me, and I really couldn't thank you guys enough. As always, thank you to my channel supporters. These guys are the fucking best, and I hope you guys have a beautiful and a wonderful day. Love y'all. Bye.
Bye. That was really good. I liked it.
Unique.
My body is a machine that turns, dude. This is so beautiful. But yeah. That's it. Now this video has motivated me to go and read the card. Now it feels way less intimidating now. Like I just go and read them, and I need to learn that what triggers that to flip. Now I understand why sometimes they just don't flip. It makes sense. Sometimes they just don't flip and they surrender. I see now. Okay, well, yeah, I feel I'm never losing to this piece of shit again. There is no way. I'm not losing to this again. So yeah, thank you so much, Crispy Applesauce. Amazing videos always. And yeah.